Hey guys, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review for July 4th, 2023. Alright, thank you all of you for joining today in this video and checking it out. I'm going to give you my views on some comic books, which yours may disagree, and that's okay. By the way, if you disagree, feel free to put those disagreements in the chat below, but don't just tell me how dumb I am. Explain why I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your views on that too as well. Now, you might hear my notes, that's my pages, because I took a lot of notes. What I do, if you're unfamiliar with this and you're new to the channel, I give you a review of each of the comic books for this week, with my view on a scale of 0 through 10, 10 being a must-have, 7 being average, like 70%. But I also do use the League of Comics Geeks, and I'm going to compare my thoughts to the group of them and give also a really brief view of the comic book, a little bit of a summary, if you will. So today we're going to start with, are you ready for this one? Right off the bat, in my opinion, this one is a bit controversial. And that's Captain America issue 750, which costs $7.99, with a 51 out of 53 liked it on League of Comics Geeks with an average rating of 4.1. So we're looking at probably a little higher than what I gave it, because I gave it a 7.5. It's a special issue. The Captains America, mourn their fallen. After the harrowing events of Captain America Cold War, the Captain America returns home to mourn their fallen and to strive to honor the power of the legacy. First of all, this character really doesn't mean a lot that's fallen. They didn't give a lot of info on them. This book has multiple covers, and that's pretty cool. It has several writers because it's actually several stories there. There's some covers, by the way, on it that I liked and some that I didn't. Anyway, writers were Gail Simone, J.M. DeMatteis, Jackson Lansing, Colin Kelly, Toki Onyu. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I just butcher names. Everybody knows the channel knows I do that. We have a Stephanie Williams, Cody Ziegler, Dan Jurgens, and then we have a lot of writers. So it was a mixed bag on writing as well as a mixed bag on art. Here's the thing though. I like Sam. Everybody familiar with me, I like Sam Wilson. But seems like he gets a little bit more spotlight on some of the covers than maybe he should. But then again, if they're trying to spawn into making it multiple Captain Americas, it makes a little bit of sense. But here's the thing, all right? We need to stop it with the cheap shots in comics by writers. They love to plug in their own little bits here. Like they had a little situation where they mentioned like, not my Captain America. Okay, here's the thing. He's not a lot of people's Captain America. When people think Captain America, notice the name, Captain America, not Captain America's. Captain America was Steve Rogers. And I wanted once again to say, I am a big Sam Wilson fan. So before you jump on the bandwagon of hate, I have pictures all over in my office, my comic book room, of Sam Wilson. I think he's a great character. Matter of fact, I like his new outfit. I like that he has a shield now. I think that's cool, but I still think he should be the Falcon. All these years, it's sort of like diminishing what he was, what he built for himself. Think about that. He built that up himself. He did what he did to become the hero that he is. He was, for example, refusing to be a token in the Avengers at one point too, which I thought that was pretty cool. Now, I will say, to be fair though, the Sam Wilson story was pretty good. Yeah. But as I said, they just can't help but throw those agendas in. I am going to have a soapbox stance here, so feel free to skip a few minutes ahead if you want. But here I am going to hit the soapbox pretty hard here. This book is filled with agenda, and I think they get some points right about Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers, Captain America, does support freedom, the American dream, if you will. But here's the thing, they also tend to neglect this, and they even hit up on this part, on his background. He's an Irish Catholic. Now, please bear with me in here, okay? They show that he's supporting everybody, but they keep hitting the gay agenda here really hard in this book. Did not need to be done. I think that was a mistake. And here's the thing. You can love, and ready, this is something that a lot of people, and once again, you don't want to hear this, skip ahead a couple minutes, okay? Please do. Here's the thing. I'm not a Catholic, though. I am Christian. And here's a common mistake. People think that if you are a Christian, that you hate gay people. which is 100% wrong. You can love a person and not like the sin. We don't love everything everybody does. Let's be honest. Everybody that you like, no matter who they are, things have done something that you don't agree with. That does not mean we instantly hate them. So yes, Captain America can love them, but he doesn't always have to agree with them. That's something they tend to leave out of this comic book, or any Captain America comic book, that he will support you in your ability to do what you can do, but he doesn't always have to agree with it. And I think that's a really key point that we all need to take from others maybe, and learn from that. And I love that the people that want to get on Christians about that and claim they have hate, and then go talk about judgment. You shouldn't be judging. You're judging Christians as well. It's very hypocritical. Let's be honest. If we look at anybody, everybody has hypocritical moments in their life. I think Captain America would stand up for everybody. Don't get me wrong. But I also think that, let's be honest here, some of those things would be against his traditional beliefs. Now, he would stand up for you to have the right to believe that, but he might not agree with you. But we never see that point. Instead, this issue used a lot of throwing it in your face. And that's why I think it was wrong. Good writing allows you to have multiple perspectives and points of view, and allows you to come up with an understanding of what you would choose to pick. Overall, the stories in this were pretty good. As I said, a little ham-fisted. But it's still, I think it could have been a little better if they didn't focus so much on certain topics, and rather focus on Steve Rogers a little bit more, because let's be honest too, Steve Rogers has been there from the beginning, not Sam. It was more of a push to Sam. I think we're getting that because they're wanting to push him for the movies, and that's where I think they're going wrong. I think, and I could be wrong here, leave your thoughts below. Are they pushing Steve Rogers out because they want to link up with the movies? Once again, I think Sam Wilson is an amazing character, but I still want my Steve Rogers. All right, the next issue I'm going to review is Captain Marvel Dark Tempest #1. 20 out of 25 liked it, showing that not a lot of people are picking this up, with a 3.5 average rating. That's a C score. I gave it right around the same ballpark. I gave it a 7.6. It says Earth's mightiest are facing off against the Brood, with the X-Men and losing someone. Wait, this is the wrong synopsis on League of Comics Geeks. Come on, League of Comics Geeks, you got to get it right there a little bit. They messed up on there. Anyway, we have an entry story here with a rebooting of the series, if you will, by Anna, writer Anne, sorry, I can't get anything right here, Anne Nocenti, which I probably butchered, I apologize. Artist Palo, which I'm going to butcher his name. You might want to check it out, Leagues of Comics Geeks there. Anyway, there. This is so taking over from the Kelly Thompson run, which I love how on this site says record-breaking run, which I will say I didn't hate. I thought it was a pretty decent run, one of the best Captain Marvel runs we've had in a while. But that doesn't really say much when the bar was set low. So here's the thing though, why does Marvel have to make, how do I put this, make Captain Marvel great at everything? Now she's a ship sailing expert? Come on, that was a little ridiculous. I think that should have went more to Monica Rambeau on that, right? But Marvel tends to do that. And once again though, we have, I thought, an author with an agenda. But hear me out here, this is a surprise here, because first thing I was reading this is like, oh boy, here's an agenda, because we have Spider-Woman clearly not knowing how the economy works. But then, I can't believe it, this writer, I'm going to give Anne some credit here, brought some balance to the conversation. She had a disagreement and they actually had a discussion. This is comic books written better there. This is where they should each give you opposing views and allow the reader to take and make an educated decision for themselves, showing some character there rather than just an all group focused on one viewpoint, which is usually, well, not usually, always the author shoving their point of view. So I'm going to give her a lot of credit for that, giving us multiple perspectives. And so maybe even, you ready for this? Carol giving some good advice. So I give this book once again a 7.6. Captain Marvel Dark Tempest. It might be worth a read if you are a Carol Danvers fan. If not, well, you might want to skip it. All right, the next book I want to talk about is Daredevil issue number 13. I gave it a 7.55. Leo Comics Geek said 133 out of 139 liked it with a 4.4 average rating, which means this book is probably selling pretty well. We have the Red Fist Saga Part 13, where now we have Daredevil going to hell. Yeah, he is. Chip Zdarsky is writing it. Marco Cicchetto is the artist. I thought pretty decent art there. And so we have good old good old Daredevil in the afterlife, which I'm going to say here, I'm not a big fan of. I want Daredevil more street level, but I will say it's a good issue with solid art. And you ready? It's nice to see. Spoiler alert. I'm going to stop here for you, give you a couple seconds. Spoiler alert. Jump ahead a minute or so if you don't want to hear it. Spoiler alert. Here we go. Foggy and Stick are coming back. Yeah, we knew they weren't going to stay dead long. Let's be honest here. Really, I didn't think it was a bad book with a 7.55. And I think people agree, but I think some of us, I don't know about you, but me, I want to see that street level Daredevil. What form of Daredevil do you want? Do you like street level Daredevil, or do you like it with these kind of grandiose stories? But I do like that Chip Zdarsky is not afraid to lean into the belief system of Daredevil and really use that as a root of the character. That's good characterization. All right, the next book, you ready? Is Spider-Man number 10. I'm flipping the pages to my notes here. All right, you ready? 61 out of 70 liked it on Legal Comics Geeks with a 3.8 average rating, which falls in line really with what I gave it, a 7.01. Are you ready for this one? Spider-Man vs. Electro, no holds barred. Yeah, we get the classic Electro, not the female version of Electro. And they'll be fighting. Remember, Spider-Man's Spider Sense has been amped up. The writer on this book is Dan Slott, as well as Christos Gage, and the penciler's Mark Bagley. Now, I'm going to tell you my opinion here. Might be controversial. I think probably Christos Gage wrote the majority of this book because it's actually pretty good. Yes, I know, it's a cheap shot. I don't tend to like Slott writing. His jokes are just lame. They fall flat. They're only really catering to that time period, so they don't last the test of time, where this book has actually been pretty good. It's got good art. I always love the artist here. Mark Bagley is always an artist that I enjoy, but here's the thing. Let's be honest. Spider-Boy is lame. Absolutely lame, right? Not as bad as Alpha lame, though. But once again, I think this proves that Dan Slott does not know how to make a good character. I mean, really, his best character is probably Cindy Moon Silk, and she sucks, too. So, and the only time her books are good is when somebody else writes it, other than him. But ultimately, this is actually a pretty fun story. Maybe it's because all the bad Spider-Man we've been getting lately. I do think it's on the slight improvement overall, but maybe that's why I'm not a big fan, and I've said it. And just so everyone knows, I want to make sure it's the point. Yeah, there is a Dan Slott bias here. Okay, Dan Slott and I have a bad relationship. I will admit that. But therefore, notice too, though, I think I'm giving it a fair score. They gave it a 3.8 rating, and I gave it a C rating with a 7.01. So hopefully I'm being fair and somewhat balanced there. If you don't think I am, let me know down in the chat below. The next book I want to cover, I only got this one and one more left, is Venom issue number 22, where 53 out of 56 liked it with a 3.9 average rating. I gave the book a 7. I'm not a real big fan of this series, but I've never been a really big Venom fan, which probably is going to get my little boy mad at me because he's a huge Venom fan. That's a different story. This is a blast in the past. For months, Eddie Brock's consciousness has been displaced in time. Yeah, didn't care for that storyline. You've seen what happens when he's flung himself to the far future of the Marvel Universe. Now see what happens when he tries to traverse into the past, face to face with the mysterious Flexo in the past, which I could care less about that character, but it is what it is. We're gonna have a fight there. L. Ewing writing this one, artist Raymond Box, which I think does a pretty good job there. Good art, and actually this issue had a lot of good action, and I didn't find the story bad. Decent issue, but really this is where it comes. I keep saying decent. It's nothing ever special to make me go, dang, you've got to read Venom. It was mid. That's what I keep getting right there, mid. And that's all I can seem to think of when I get this book. And I can't really say go and get this book unless you are a absolutely huge, let me repeat that, huge Venom fan. Now the next book, the last book I read, seems like this character has been popping up all over the place. DC wants to make him something, and that's Peacemaker Tries Hard number 3. Why is Peacemaker in everything right now? Now I say that, I don't hate the character. I'll admit that. 70 out of 71 liked it with a 4.4 average rating. This book is not for kids. Once again, this book is not for kids. Betrayed, bleeding, and broken, Peacemaker drags his finely toned body to a local watering hole where he can existentially question his violent pursuit of peace from the safety of a bar stool. But his wallowing is short-lived as he is going to get tacked, and I'm not going to go any farther than that, but the writer was Kyle Starks, artist Steve Pugh, and I will say this, I think the art's good. I find this series funny. It's dirty as can be. It's not something I would normally like, but for some reason, I am enjoying this incredibly silly. I mean, this book is silly, but I find it fun. And it's working for me. Book 3, I gave it a 7.09. Yeah, not the highest score as they gave it, 7.09, but I think it's because maybe I'm a little harder on it, or maybe it's a little fatigue of this character, because let's be honest, they're really trying to make something out of him. Who knows? And I think he's an interesting character. I'm glad they're actually utilizing characters that are not as big, but what's going on here? Sort of like we're seeing with Ghost Rider. I think DC's trying to push this character to make more out of him, just like Marvel right now is trying to do more with Ghost Rider. Why is he in so many books? I don't think that's necessary, that he's in so many books right now, but I am enjoying this one. So if you don't mind a dirtier, silly, romp, comedy kind of book, this might be for you. If you do not like that kind of book, though, stay away from this one. You won't like it at all. Well, there you have it. Those are the books I read. What books did you read? What should I have read? Where am I wrong? Let me know. I would love to hear it. By the way, thank you for everybody watching my latest video before this on why the Tim Drake Robin book failed. I greatly appreciate you did that. And speaking of appreciation, I want to take a moment here, say thank you to all these people here. Without these people, this channel would not be possible. They support the channel through Patreon and Subscribestar. And by just that little bit of support that they provide, which means a whole lot to me, I might add, it's not a little bit to me, as little as $1 a month, you're going to get access to special videos just for you, extra music, background music, or music you can just listen to. As a matter of fact, I just recently put up a new track for all the supporters, so I hope you checked it out and enjoyed it, and some other special deals. So thank you so much, and I really mean that. When I say little, I shouldn't have ever even said little. I mean a lot. These people have been nothing but amazing. Without them, this channel wouldn't exist. There's no doubt about that. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Please be blessed, and you know what's next. Until next time, keep it frugal.